I recently got my CDL license, and since then, I've been traveling all across the country, seeing different states, cities, and small towns. For the most part, all of my loads and unloads have been smooth. I've driven through rough neighborhoods and even ghost towns, but nothing ever sent a chill down my spine like Shadow Falls, Massachusetts. The night I went was a random Friday. I had just finished delivering a load to a warehouse in Boston when my boss called and asked me to pick up another load from Shadow Falls about another hour away. I checked the time. It was getting close to midnight. Normally I would have complained, but I was off the next day, so I just shrugged it off, hopped in my truck, and started driving. On the way there, something already felt off. I'd never been asked to pick up a load that late before. As I got closer, a thick fog started rolling in. It was so dense that even my headlights felt useless, barely cutting through the gray. Still, I kept driving. Eventually, I passed a large sign on the side of the highway. "Welcome to Shadow Falls." And that's when things really started to feel wrong. I called my boss and asked exactly where I needed to go. He told me to head to a district called Bowden Hill. As I drove deeper into Bowden Hill, the city disappeared. There was nothing but miles of cornfields stretching out on both sides of the road. No houses, no lights, just darkness and crops swaying in the wind. Then I saw a warehouse sitting alone in the middle of all of that land. No parking lot, no loading dock, nothing. I pulled up anyway. I stepped out of my truck, expecting someone to be waiting, but there was no one. The place was dead silent, so I walked over to a side door and knocked. No answer. That's when the uneasiness really set in. I was standing in the middle of nowhere, in a place I didn't know, surrounded by nothing but cornfields, and it was past midnight. I decided to call my boss and let him know no one was there, but when I walked back to my truck, the door was locked. My stomach dropped. My keys were inside. My phone was inside. I was stuck. I let out a frustrated sigh, then heard something rustle behind me. I immediately spun around, but there was nothing. "All right," I muttered to myself. "I'll just walk down the road. Find a house or a barn. Someone's gotta have a phone." So I started walking. 10 minutes passed, or at least, it felt like 10 minutes. It could have been longer. The whole time, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was following me. Every few steps, I turned around. Nothing. Then in the distance, I saw a house with the porch light on. Relief hit me instantly. I started walking faster toward it. But as I did, that same fog rolled back and thicker than before. Within seconds, I couldn't see anything. I kept moving in what I thought was the right direction. But suddenly I wasn't on the road anymore. I was in the cornfield. Panic set in immediately. I tried to turn around, tried to find my way back, but no matter which direction I went, it felt like I was only getting deeper. That's when I saw it. A scarecrow. But something about it wasn't right. The sack on his head didn't look like cloth. It looked like leather. Its body, stuffed with hay, looked wrong. Like something was underneath it. Something real or alive. I stood there confused and scared then. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw movement. I turned to see another scarecrow. Then another. And another. My chest tightened as they were forming a circle around me. Slowly, they started walking closer. My brain couldn't process what I was seeing. None of it made sense. And then the fear that had me frozen in place snapped. So I ran. I ran faster than I ever have in my life, pushing through the corn, not caring where I was going, just trying to get away. Behind me, I heard them, running, keeping up with me. Their footsteps, if you could even call them that, were crashing through the field. I didn't dare look back at first, but when I did, I wish I hadn't. Their mouths were hanging open, their bodies moved wrong, and they were gaining on me. Tears streamed down my face. This isn't real, I kept telling myself. This can't be real. I screamed for help, then something grabbed my shoulder. I was yanked to the ground before I could even react. They were all around me, closing in, reaching for me. I shut my eyes. I knew it was over. Then, the sound was deafening. I covered my ears as another shot rang out. I opened my eyes. An older man stood there with a shotgun. He reached down, grabbed my arm, and pulled me to my feet with surprising strength. I looked around and realized something that didn't make sense because we were right in front of the house, the same one I had seen earlier. I didn't question it. I just ran inside. He followed close behind, slammed the door shut, and locked it. Then he leaned his shotgun against it. He turned to me. "You the trucker supposed to pick up the load?" he asked. I nodded, still shaking. He sighed and sat down. "I was supposed to help you load up," he said. "Told your boss to delay you until morning. Clearly he didn't listen." I didn't know what to say. I was still trying to understand what I had just gone through. The old man stood up and walked over to me. He looked me dead in the eyes. "The evil in those fields," he said quietly. "It preys on the living." He paused. "I've seen a lot of good men fall to it." Then his voice softened just a bit. "You're one of the lucky ones." I stayed in the house until sunrise. When morning came, he drove me back to my truck. We managed to get the door open, loaded up the cargo, and I left without looking back. And I can promise you this: I will never return to Shadow Falls.